Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Hello and welcome to Ducks Unlimited Television. I'm Ainsley Beeman. We're in the heart of the Mississippi Flyway for this episode of DUTV. First to Bear Bayou Lodge near Stuttgart, Arkansas with co-host Wade Bourne, duck calling icon Buck Gardner, and some of Buck's closest friends. Then I join Buck and his pals for a hunt near Lambert, Mississippi. All next on America's longest running waterfowl show, DUTV.
Oh yeah, he takes One of my favorite things to do in waterfowling is to hunt green timber. Now, I'm not alone in this. A lot of waterfowlers all across the United States dream about coming to Arkansas, wading into shallow woods and having ducks come in down through the trees and hit the little holes. It's very exciting. It's very classic. I was quite excited when we were told we were going to come down and get to hunt with Buck Gardner. Buck is a legend in waterfowling and waterfowl calling. His game call business is one of the premier ones in the country. Of course, Buck's got all the history of winning the Champion of Champions calling contest in Stuttgart. He's been there and done that, and when you combine a trip to the Green Timber in Arkansas with Buck Gardner, those are two classics that go together, and I was really, really excited about coming.
Well, we made the decision. We got to go where the ducks are. We've seen a few passing over the woods and had just a chance or two, but they didn't fall in here. And Will says he's got a spot yesterday out in a blind in an open reservoir that they were working pretty heavily. So we're going to pick up. The old saying is, if the ducks are over there and I'm over here, what am I doing over here? Well, we're going to go where they are. So maybe we'll get a little action here in a little while.
About 80% of the shots that you miss are behind, you know, and the other 20% are way behind.
For those that know Buck, know that he's down to earth and just a great guy. He'll do anything he can to make a hunt better. Just listening to his stories and his experiences are great in itself.
Right in front.
Wrong side of the blind, wrong end.
Great shot.
There we go. On the boards.
Good shot, man. Thank you, man. Nothing to it, huh?
Aye, man. I'm quitting now. Didn't miss a duck the whole trip.
That's right.
Move it. Let's go.
Atta girl.
All right.
There we go.
Pretty duck. We've heard a lot of duck calling this morning. Now we hear breakfast calling. We're going to take a break and go in. We've had a lot of ducks flying around the blind, but they were just splitting when they would get here, just hanging out there at marginal range. We picked up a few ducks, have missed a few too. Some pretty good shots we should have had, but that's duck hunting.
Ducks Unlimited Television, presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting, is also brought to you by Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades and Ducks Unlimited's Rescue Our Wetlands campaign, banding together for waterfowl.
And we're creating a hunting spot for in the morning. After extensive scouting and watching the duck patterns this morning, we figured out this was a spot that they like, and the rule of thumb is you got to go where the ducks go. We feel that by moving in here and kind of making a little makeshift blind with some marsh seats, we ought to have some pretty good success in the morning. See what happens.
The weather's going to change tomorrow. It's supposed to rain starting about 8 o'clock. Hopefully these ducks will still want to get back here in this tight, thick stuff. Usually at the end of the year, they want to seclude themselves in a brushy, heavy, thick area because they're mating, they're starting to pair off, and the pairs want to get out by themselves. They're more prone to come into a place like this than they are to hit the open water. So we're going to be here with them in the morning. We'll see what happens. We're set up here. It's the second morning. We came in yesterday afternoon and built permanent blinds where these ducks had ganged up yesterday, and if they come back to where they were yesterday, we're going to be waiting for them this time. There's a big rainstorm moving in. We're going to try to get them fast. If we don't, we're going to get wet, but hey, that's part of duck hunting. Let's see what happens.
Directly. Same pair, sir. Well, Wade's been somebody that I've thought of as a friend and a buddy for 30 years or so. And I've never gotten to hunt with him before. Wade's friends with lots of my buddies in Nashville. I always wanted to go with him, so when we found out we were going to do this, it was like, you know, this is going to be lots of fun.
How you gonna do it?
Get him, Will. When I was 6 years old, I got hip boots from Santa Claus.
Okay.
And my daddy took me hunting, and I fell in that morning. I've told that story. You know, and it's kind of like my baptism. But he made me walk because it was real cold, and he was afraid I'd get too cold. But we got over to Doug Bryant's house. They had a big stove in this house, wood-burning stove, and I got up by that stove and got dried off. And my mama, bless her heart, there was a paper sack in the truck with a pair of blue jeans and a shirt and some underwear and socks in there. So I was able to get dried off and ready to go again. The very next summer, I got a duck call. I've still got it in the desk drawer at my office.
What kind was it?
It's Chick Majors made it over in Stuttgart. It's a Dixie Mallard.
Yeah.
And anyway, I blew that duck call nonstop and drove everybody crazy with it. This is the kind of day that people think about duck hunting. It ought to be great.
Yeah.
This is not a great duck hunting day.
Yeah.
This is hard to kill duck day, you know, but it's still fun. I mean,
Beats sitting in the office.
yes, it does.
Buck Gardner is one of the best duck callers in the world. He's a great friend. I think especially after this hunt, now every time I see him, we'll talk about sitting out there in that rain and hoping the ducks are gonna come. Will's a great host and a fun guy to be with, but it doesn't necessarily take a lot of birds in the bag to make a great hunt.
Some years are for the ducks. Even in years with high continental duck populations, the weather and other factors can lead to low hunter success in some areas. This was the case during the 2015-16 season. It began with high hopes after waterfowl populations enjoyed exceptional conditions on their breeding and nesting grounds. But as the season progressed, many hunters found themselves waiting for an Arctic blast to push all those ducks south. At the same time, El Nino caused significant rainfall and flooding in many areas, creating abundant habitat and spreading the ducks out across the landscape. Ducks tended to stay where they had sufficient food and were not pushed out by cold weather or hunting pressure. Like me and like thousands of other hunters, your season might not have been one for the record books. But like me, I hope you'll be out there again this season. We all know that the duck hunting experience is about so much more than killing ducks. Be thankful for every day you get to spend in the blind with friends and family, and take comfort knowing that millions of waterfowl returned to their breeding grounds in excellent shape last spring. Maybe next year will be one for the hunters.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com. DUTV is powered by Mossberg Built Rugged, proudly American, Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist, and Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
Well, we had a great time, got to go over to Will's place over in Arkansas and got to hunt with Wade and had a ball. Had some bad weather and still got a few ducks and had a little bit of fun, but we decided to come on back and try it one more time, so we came down here to Mississippi. What a great place with really, really great people. Had a lot of fun and got to meet Ainsley.
Mr. Wade had the opportunity to hunt with Mr. Buck and Will a couple of weeks earlier in Arkansas, and it was a little bit slow, so we wanted to try to get the group together again, and this time I had the privilege of hunting with Mr. Buck and Will.
When I come in, I was greeted with open arms. I got to meet Ainsley for the first time. I needed to retune a few calls and hope it wouldn't drive everybody in the lodge crazy while I did that. So, of course, we hit the mud room and Buck and I got back there and got some calls tuned up pretty right, so we'd be on point the next day for our morning hunt.
Clayton is an extremely bright young guy, but he's a fantastic talent with a duck call or a goose call. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Ducks never lose them little pre-notes, that little. They'll always have that first.
Last night was such a treat, especially for me being from Louisiana. These Mississippi boys brought in a mess of crawfish and we had a nice little time just kind of getting to enjoy each other's company and shout out on some good crawfish. I'll give them an A+, even being from Louisiana. They did a great job, so we had a good time.
It was good, it was good. I think a good crawfish boil is a good southern thing to do. This was one of the earliest ones. You know, usually you have your crawfish later on in the spring. He says it's the first time he's ever cooked in January.
We was putting down an old jerk cord that me and a fellow named Sonny Kirkpatrick made about 35 years ago. I said, look, here's a little piece of cedar, let's make it look like a duck call. And we did.
These two up front.
Take those two right there, y'all. Slayton, you better get start shooting, boy. These two over here gonna kill them all.
Well, the first morning we all headed out and we hunted in some flooded timber. It was a beautiful setup, looked like a sweet little hole, and we got to watch a bunch of birds work. We had some greenheads come in. And
Guys, speckled-belly hunting has become very popular across the board, and it's something a lot of people come up just wanting to know the basics on how to get started in calling these birds that they're now seeing a lot of that they might not have hunted a few years ago. The basic standpoint that I can give everybody a spec makes a yodel and a cluck. Most time you want to do the yodel when they're off at a distance, and once you get their interest in you, you want to go to the cluck. And I'll start out the yodels like this. Then you'll go into a cluck. It's just a. You finish most of your birds like that, and add to your successive season. Just keep it simple when you're starting out these specs and learn as you go.
Duck Tactics has been presented by Buck Gardner Calls, champion of champions. DUTV is powered by biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Buck Gardner Calls, champion of champions. Native nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife, with closed captioning provided by Honey Break Lodge. World-class accommodations and wing shooting on the Louisiana Bayou.
Placeboard training and place training in the home is an absolutely essential behavior. It is a skill that transfers from the home to the duck blind, where a dog is sitting steady in the duck blind, a pit blind, or a water stand. But there's an intermediate step that we'd like to share with you. Danielle and Honey are going to demonstrate. These place boards look exactly like her little bed in the house. If you have a dog that's running about, for instance, teach the dog to go to place. Now she's ready to move on to hand signals perhaps. A left, a right, she will go from place to place using the hand signals. She's watching Danielle really closely. That's another great advantage. She sits and she's going to cast. And she learns to follow the hand directions at a very young age. And this skill is very easily transferred to a water stand and a pit blind. This is the way we take a young pup from point A to point C, place in the house to the water stand in the field. Placeboard training and little water stands on the ground first before making the big plunge to the lake.
Duck Dog with Mike Stewart is presented by Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
We had a lot of birds in the air. We had a lot of birds that worked us. As the morning wore on, though, the ducks are paired up and they're not really wanting to go in with a bunch of decoys and a bunch of calling and stuff. When they get paired up like that, they're wanting to go off and find a separate little pocket to themselves, you know, in the buckbrush. So as they got a little older, it became more difficult to deal with them just because they're pair bonded. That's a buckism now. That may not be exact biology facts, but I believe it, and I've believed it a long time, so it's got to be true. Come back on left.
Mr. Buck and Will and Slayton with us, and it was really, really fun for me to kind of get to listen to those guys blow the duck calls. They know a thing or two about that, so that was fun for me to get to watch the birds work with them right next to me.
Being there, getting to see Will again, having Slayton back with me, and then getting to meet Ainsley. Of course, we're all boys and we're being on our P's and Q's and behaving right, but still having fun, because that's what duck hunting is all about.
Thanks to all of our hosts and guests who made these great experiences possible. And a special thanks to the folks at Buck Gardner Calls, whose much appreciated investment helps us bring you Ducks Unlimited Television. For all the crew at DUTV, thanks for watching and good hunting.